you know, sometimes you get into mode, so sometimes you don't feel like the sense of urgency with some of the guys, and I think it's part of the learning curve too for some of our, as we get into the depth, you know, of our defense. So just understanding how important it is to get the reps and get it done right, the communication and the execution of a play. When you get an opportunity to get a rep, I mean, it should be everything. You can't just, oh, my time isn't now, like your time is now. And trying to emphasize that and develop that sense of urgency with our younger groups as part of spring ball.
What have you thought about Tony converting to safety? You know, Chris moved to safety. Obviously, those guys made some plays out there in 11s. What have you thought about that young development of them?
Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing. Like just like I said, this understanding the sense of urgency, and those things are things you develop with some of those young guys that, you know, that they're trying to find their role right now. And the hardest thing is when you have so many, you know, returning players, is getting those guys to understand that, yeah, this still is your time, you know, and you're hoping that you recruit guys that are talent-wise as good as the guys you got playing, so you just can continue to reload, develop that young group, develop the underclass, I mean, so they can replace the older, you know, the older guys, the upperclassmen, as they leave. So, you know, that's something that they're learning how to do, and they're still learning the defense at new positions.
There was a lot of chatter back and forth during the O-line and O-line offense. How important do you think that inter-squad competitiveness is for you guys right now?
Competitiveness is everything. I mean, if you're not willing to compete, you should be competing in everything, and not just out here, but in the classroom, when you're studying, in your playbooks, and in installs, and in the meetings. And I mean, you should literally have, if you don't have that competitive mindset, then you get comfortable. And if guys get comfortable, then we're not going to grow. And if we don't grow, you know what the story is with that. So, you know, so yeah, that's what we're trying to emphasize, trying to make sure that they're keeping it, you know, on the level and keeping it professional. But at the same time, we want those guys to have controlled. That we want them controlled chaos. I mean, that's really kind of the mentality right now.
Rodney Bibbins and Plaz Johnson are pretty talented young guys. How much can they push and keep Keith and Javen on their toes?
I'm sorry, say that again.
How much
Chris?
can your backup corners push those starters?
Yeah.
To keep them on their toes
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was getting a guy confused. You know, those guys are ultra talented guys, and like I said, I keep saying the same thing. The challenge is for those younger guys not to just kind of have, you know, deer in the headlights mentality. I mean, they got to understand every walkthrough, every meeting, they're learning it, and then when they get an opportunity to go with the ones like Rodney and Plas get to, they got to act like a one. They got to act like a starter. That's their opportunity to show that they put the preparation in, and that their time is now. So, and not, you know, after someone graduates. So, you know, same thing. You know, 2 redshirt freshmen, they're still growing to learn the urgency and that sense of urgency that they have to have when they get a chance to run with the ones.
What are the kickers doing to improve on last year?
I don't know. I literally haven't watched one kick since we got out here. So, yeah, I'm sorry.
Brian, with Clayton specifically, I mean, he's been here for a number of years now. You talk about the guy always seems to have that. What stands out about
I mean,
about him now?
yeah, he just maturity and just physical maturity wise, he's getting bigger, he's getting stronger, he's understanding, you know, he understands the technique and what the expectation is. You know, when he messes up, he's harder on himself than we're going to be on himself, and you know, those are the biggest things with him, and just in terms of his maturity and his growth, and you know, there's no finished products out there, so we're trying to emphasize that with him and with these other guys, and we're trying to continue to get these guys to their full potential, and so they can play, you know, their best season coming up.
The linebacker group has a lot of guys coming back from last year. So
Yeah.
how much easier does it make that transition in the new season when you have a bunch of leaders already in that room?
Yeah, I mean, just based on our system, the most coaching and teaching and the moving parts is going to happen with the linebacker room. A lot of systems, it's the safeties, and it's on the safeties, and on the outside linebackers. With our system, it's really on those backers. So having that kind of continuity and chemistry, they're showing examples of what it's supposed to look like every day, and those guys doing that only helps the underclassmen in our room, because they get a chance to look and see how it's supposed to be done every day, and those guys are playing at a high level right now.
Coach, I just talked with Clayton Smith quickly just about the seniors and some of those guys coming back, just maintaining the standard. How do you feel as those guys are doing just in terms of leadership?
I think they're doing a great job. And you know, when you go out, when you see them out there, and they're all out there working together, you see that's a different group. I mean, the game is slow to them, and they play super fast. When you see, you know, position groups that aren't out there, you know what I mean, that haven't really played a lot, and you see there's a big difference. And our challenge right now is to get those underclassmen and guys that haven't played up to that level where we feel confident and comfortable that, you know, those guys can take snaps off of that veteran group, so we can have them out there when the game is on the line and when we need to win the game.
How good is it to have those seniors doing that?
It's a lot of fun. I mean, it's a pretty, because there's so many moving parts and so many things that you got to coach and develop, and it takes time to do when you have 11 guys out on the field, having to literally react to everything an offense is doing, because that's what it is. And seeing how fast they play and how they can recognize and diagnose things, it's really on a high level. And that's, again, the challenge for us is getting that sense of urgency with those young guys to understand, hey, it's your time is now. Let's start to pick it up, and let's get to that level where we trust you if we got to sprinkle you in with some of those older guys.
Thanks, Brian.